Hi everybody, Matt Bull here with another episode of the Business Spotlight, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Brij Thankey from Precision FM. How are you today, Brij?
I'm really well, Matt. Thank you for inviting me on. I am thrilled to be here.
Good man, great to have you. Great to have you here. To get us started, please just tell everybody a little bit about what your business does and your role in the business.
At Precision, we provide national facilities management services, very much an integrated model, and that's where customers like to partner with us, and we look after them to ensure there's a seamless provision of looking after all their facility needs. It can be a bit of a headache, especially when you've got a multi-site operation or a large building, to get quality, sustainability, and innovation within sort of their buildings and their property portfolios. And that's something that we take on, and we take on those challenges, and demonstrate value back to our customers.
Amazing. And how long, you're CEO of the business, how long have you been running the business for?
Yeah, I am the CEO of the business. It's been nearly 12 years now, and a huge sort of learning curve. But it's been really good. We've got some fantastic customers, great staff, and we kind of go strength to strength with using what we've learned, and what we want to do in the future, and applying that with any type of building and in any location.
Excellent. So take us back 12 years, if that's all right, Brij, if you can go. I know a lot of water under the bridge over 12 years for any growing business. What was it back then that triggered you to get involved and really get Precision up and running?
Well, Matt, I'll be completely honest with you. A little bit of my background. I'm a chartered accountant by background, being Indian, when I came out of university, my parents said to me, you can either be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant, and I thought accountancy would be the easiest option out of the three, so I went for that. I was very fortunate, though. I've in my career, I've worked with some amazing people, very inspirational, and it's taught me a lot, and I was lucky enough to progress in my career in whatever roles I've been in that particular field. And when it came to 12 years ago, it was more of it wasn't like I was really something I really wanted to do or anything like that. It kind of sort of fell into me, really, more than anything else. I was taking a break in between jobs, and an opportunity arose, and initially was there to kind of sort of help out a couple of customers, and then sort of 6 months into that, I found myself sitting there designing websites, and what we're going to do with this and where we're going to go with it. And the first 6-7 years were tough. I'll be honest with you, really hard. And if anything, if I look back as to why that was, being a finance guy, and I was CFO for large private equity backed business. I thought that setting up a business following being in finance all that time would be really easy. But it was really difficult. It was more difficult for me than anyone else, because I kind of had to sort of change myself, and I didn't realize that until sort of 6-7 years in. I was sort of changing everything else around me to make things better, but it still wasn't working. So when I sort of realized that actually I need to sort of take a step back and look at how I'm thinking, what I'm concentrating my time on. And when I addressed that, I read some really cool books as well, by the way, that helped me on that journey. When I started to adapt to that, things started to change. Precision always has been very much a customer-focused business, and we don't let customers down. That's we're a small business, but our mantra is, it doesn't matter how much it costs, what it takes, we do not let customers down. And what I've been doing, I suppose, for the last 4 or 5 years is realizing where the real asset in the business is. And where that is the people. So when we started to fix the retention rate of staff and to make sure that, you know, we've got good people, we train them, we look after them, we make sure they have a nice life and an opportunity to grow. Our retention rates on staff improved, and as they improved, it had a knock-on effect on customer retention. And I can sit here today and tell you we're in the high 90% of customer retention here over the last 6-7 years.
Excellent. You mentioned there the idea, or not the idea, the reality that your personal growth has actually been one of the key drivers behind the business growth. And you mentioned reading and things like that. Oh, yeah. Can you give the viewers some examples of either the books or actually specifically what you realized about yourself that needed to happen? Because we know it needs to happen. You know, the business can never outgrow the leader and all these great things. What was it about yourself that you learned, or the books that you read that made that happen?
I think, look, so if I was going to give you 3 books that I think are absolute must for any business leader. One is Jim Collins' Good to Great, great book, and really, you know, it allowed me to get an insight into, right, what do I need to be doing in the company to make it great? Yeah, it's good, but make it great. And a lot of that involves, I suppose, interaction and involvement from others, not just yourself. So you've got to sort of open yourself up to allow others to come in, and others to make key decisions, empowering others. Really, really important. And, you know, here we have our KPIs and we have our controls, and we look at our planners and all that sort of stuff when it comes to, you know, staff appraisals and development of the business. But the most important thing is that when you're developing people, you've got to give them an opportunity to grow into something. You know, that's something I think we do at Precision. And, you know, when I'm training someone, I want to know that there is somewhere that they can actually go within Precision, rather than just training for the sake of training. You know, all human beings want to develop, all human beings want to be wealthier, healthier, and all that sort of stuff. Well, you know, that's somewhere where I think, you know, a company needs to take some responsibility of that, because, you know, people spend a lot of their time at work. So we do our bit. And Good to Great's a great book for that. For my personal growth, I think a book I've read was the Almanac of I think it's I can never pronounce his name properly. He's an Indian guy, but it's the Almanac of Navi Ravikant. I think that's how you pronounce it. And great book, all to do with how to think. And you know, as somebody who's a leader, you know, my decisions, you know, affect lives of a lot of people. And so it's important that, you know, I'm grounded, I'm centered when I'm thinking. And, you know, I don't make decisions or key decisions when I'm overly happy or overly sad or in a negative state of mind. So, you know, when you're making key decisions, it's good to be grounded, it's good to be centered, and it does really pay dividends. And that book by Mr. Ravikant is something really special, actually. Really, I was engrossed in that book, and I still will read it again. I suppose I'm one of those sort of people, you know, I'll have about 50 books, and they're books I like to read over and over again. And I like to read them slowly, and sort of contemplate and think, and then sort of you know, get the most out of them. And then lastly, I'd say, I mean, there's so many great books. I wouldn't want to not mention a few, but what I've read recently is really good. Well, what I'm reading right now, and that is a book on being an essentialist. So the ability or understanding when to say no. And that doesn't mean that you're saying no to not take on more work or more workload. It's saying no, so what you do take on, you do the best at that. And that's really important, I think, in business, especially for a small company, because small company is very prone to taking on everything, right? Because you want to do something, you want to increase your turnover, and it doesn't matter what it is, you just take any income to sort of get there. But what this book does, it kind of sort of brings you back from that and says, actually, those people who are successful are those who actually understand how an essentialist thinks, and when to say no, and what to take on and why. It's really important. So that's been pretty cool. And I've been trying to sort of as we're expanding, it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, but as we're expanding, one of the most important things for me is, what don't I want to do? Where don't I want to take the company as opportunities come in? And we're very fortunate, we have an abundance of opportunities. So where precision will get involved is where we know we can make real value and demonstrate value to customers. That's where I'm putting our resources.
Excellent. I mean, that's the transition that awareness of what's important, what matters. There's loads of other great books we could reel off. So at the start of the entrepreneur's journey, there's no shortage of opportunity for any business that's out there now. But the personal growth of the individual is often what is going to negate that future success. That's not to say that journey and that transition is easy, though. What have you learned about yourself along that growth journey?
I've learned that I've got a lot of resilience, and I've learned that I can you see the picture of the rhino behind me, right? And it's quite significant that, because in business I like to sort of associate myself with very much in a rhino mentality, and that is that they're thick skins, they don't let a lot of things bother them, and it's easy in business to let things really get onto you and start playing on your mind. So I'm very selective as to what I let into my thoughts, and how long it stays there, and if something that I feel is negative, or something that I feel that actually doesn't serve me anymore, I release, I move away from it. And I think that's really important in business. That's what I've learned about myself during sort of this personal growth, that it's important to not let things bother you. Definitely.
Very cool. And with let's say we talk about opportunity, we talk about business growth and personal growth. As a business owner, for people watching this, maintaining a balance or a sense of self is often, people find that challenging. So we're trying to grow a business, we're trying to be the best version of ourselves, and along the way, some people get lost. We know that, potentially overtrade their business, treat people incorrectly. It sounds like, in respect of how you treat your staff, how you treat your customers, how you treat yourself, that balance you're constantly trying to maintain. What advice would you give to people who are potentially finding at the moment that they feel a bit out of kilter or unbalanced in either work life or mindset?
Yeah, I mean, so let me give you great ways. My typical day, right? So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. First thing I do is meditate for about 30 minutes. I try and do more during the course of the day, but 30-minute meditation. The night before, I'll journal, and I'm trying to think about what I want to achieve the next day. And then after I've woken up and I've had half an hour meditation session, I'll go about my day, and that usually involves working out. I'll try and do that 4 to 5 times a week. The older you get, the harder that becomes. But you certainly got to, it's when you don't want to go, you go, and that helps you battle your mind, really. Then I'm at work, and I'll concentrate on the key elements, and I'll prioritize what really needs to, what I really want to impact on that day. And then that's followed by getting home in the evening, and I cook. I like to cook because I find that, as strange as it must seem, I find that a way of me not thinking about work or anything else. It helps me switch off. So I like to cook. I cook for me and my son, and then I walk the dog with my headphones on and listen to some music, and that is great way of sort of just sort of reflecting on the day. And then the evening's usually followed by some more work. I like to do a couple of hours in the evening when I'm calm and I'm fresh, and I've been healthy pretty much for the whole day. I've had a good day at work, and anything I need to reflect on, I do that sort of a couple of hours in the evening before sort of reading and then going to bed. And I think lifestyle of all of that is lifestyle. And if people are out of kill, I think it's because they're either if you look after your body and you look and you look after your mind, then you'll be able to look after your business. You'll be able to look after your staff. You can't look after yourself, then how do you expect to look after others? That can be customers, staff, suppliers. So in business, I think it's really important. You have to start with yourself. And if you look after yourself, you can look after others.
Sounds as well. I think the other question, or may even be an observation, is that it sounds like you've spent quite a bit of time maybe figuring out what works for you. There's no lesson that doesn't take a bit of time, a bit of pain, or a bit of money. I think for a lot of business owners, they're often trying to do what they think they should do, i.e. what the internet or social media tells them, rather than figuring out when am I best, because a lot of people would say never work in the evenings or never do that. What? But actually that works for you because of the way you structure your day.
If I feel like I haven't done that piece in the evening, then I think the next day, the following day, I'll be firefighting for, right, I need to make this decision, I need to make that decision. And what I learned was that actually, and I like to think things through. So, I'm very strategic in the way the way I work. So I do like to think things through, like assess all my options. And that's why, I talked about essentialism. Where you don't know what to say no to until you've assessed everything. So, you need that time. So do take that time. Don't rush. Really important. I think opportunities. If it's a customer and they really want to work with you, they'll make sure that they wait for you. They'll wait until you're ready. And then once you're ready, you've got to fully commit. And that's the other thing. Fully commit. Don't let any fears get in the way. And there'll always be some areas which during the course of the journey that might not work out to plan, but the end goal doesn't change. The journey will, but the end goal stays the same. And I think that's really important. To really focus on that. So when I set goals, and I kind of do it backwards. So the goals there, and then you work backwards, right? How do I get there? I'm flexible, and I'm agile around how we'll get there, because the market changes so quickly. There's external factors, like we've had an energy crisis, labor costs going through the roof. Getting hold of materials is a nightmare, and the lead times and things like that. But those things come and go. COVID, but the end goal stays there, and I think that's important. Never give up sort of mentality, certainly.
Awesome. Final question that I ask everyone, Brij. As you reflect on your career and your life so far, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh, wow. what advice would I give? I wish I got into the love for reading self-improvement books a long time ago. I mean, you know, and you know, I practice, but I incentivize my son, let's put it that way, to read some of the books that I'm reading. He's 13 years old, smart kid. He's got goals in life already, and he's very dedicated. But there's some books that I'd like him to read now and understand. So, you know, in the future, he can make better decisions, and that's what it is. As an 18-year-old, and doesn't matter how old you are, it's about the decisions you make, because that's the path you'll go. So, you know, I think it's important to make the right decision for you, your personality, your lifestyle, your family life, the end goal. There's no time scale on the end goal, right? You know, and I think when you make certain decisions, if it's a financial issue, then, you know, financial issues you can recover, you know, you can make the money elsewhere. However, when it's an issue with a decision you've made, which then you're putting your time into, the time you can't get back. But I think that's quite important. I think that as an 18-year-old, I'd probably look at, yeah, you know, the amount of time I waste doing things that really don't serve me and suit me. Yeah, I'd like to get the time back.
Brij, absolute pleasure having you on this episode of the Business Spotlight. Definitely one that the longer format interview would have worked. There's so many more questions I've noted down that I haven't been able to ask, but the time you've given us, your sharing, your experience is massively valuable to our viewers, and I thank you again for coming on this episode of the Business Spotlight.
No, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for getting me involved. Really enjoyed it.
Great. And to our viewers, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Spotlight. Many thanks.